Greetings and welcome to the tutorial of the game 7. The game is called 7 because it's a 7 by 7 board with 7 pieces on each team that must move 7 spaces every turn. You'll see there are 3 dice involved in the game, and when 2 of the 3 dice or 3 of the 3 dice add up to 7, that means you can choose any of the dice in play and you get an extra turn. So you can see the computer here is getting several turns. When you get a pair, you can choose either the number of the pair or the solitary number. All right, now it's our turn. We're going to make our first move. We got a 7. So you can see the 6 and the 1 add up to 7. You'll see the red border. And that means we can choose any of the 3 dice as our move. Those are indicated by a green border. And we get another turn. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this piece here. You'll see it's an Archangel. It's different than the other pieces. It has a few special powers, including the ability to capture another piece and to swap its piece with another of its own pieces as a turn if it doesn't have a good move. So I'm going to click on here. It means I can move a 1 to the left and then up a 7. So basically, you take the dice roll of the 1, you have to do a 90-degree turn in an available direction, and you complete the total number of 7 spaces. Or I could do a 1 this way and a 7 there. So we'll go ahead and do that as our turn. The object of the game 7 is to get 4 of your 7 pieces simultaneously on these 4 squares here, shown by a small board. On the other boards, you'll see them as swirling clouds. So whoever gets 4 of their 7 pieces on all 4 of these squares simultaneously wins the game. You get 55 points. If you can put 4 of your opponent's pieces on all 4 of these squares, indicated on other boards by a cage or a dungeon, then you get a second way of winning, which is 33 points. And if you do both, all 4 of your squares here, the gates of heaven, are occupied by your pieces, and 4 of your opponent's pieces are in these shield squares or dungeon squares, then you can also win the most points, which is 77 points. When none of the 3 dice add up to 7, or none of the 2 dice add up to 7, you use the default dice, which is indicated by a red color. You can see now it's the one that has the green border around it, the only one, meaning that I have to move a 6. Any piece can move anywhere on the board that is not occupied, with the exception of the Archangel, which can land on an opponent's piece and take it, and then put it on any available space on the board that is not occupied and not within the center 9 squares. You can pass through the gates of heaven or the shield squares in your turn. However, you cannot pass through the center square, which is called the throne of God. Now you'll notice on the board, 8 of the squares are indicated by being the bright color red. These are the squares from which you have to be on in order to capture a gate of heaven. It's not a rule, it's just that mathematically it works out that you can only capture a gate of heaven from these squares, so we indicated them by the bright red color. So you could say that your first objective is to get your piece to a red square, because from there you can capture a gate of heaven, which is the object of the game. So let's say I don't want to make a move, I'm in a good position. I can, as an alternative, swap my piece with my Archangel. So I'll click on the Archangel, I'll click on any of my other pieces, and you can see that they swap positions as my turn. So here you can see my opponent is on a red square about to capture this gate of heaven, which they can do with a 3 or a 4, or a 4 and a 3. My Archangel is in a position to capture their piece, which is a good thing to do to prevent them from getting a gate of heaven. So I'm going to click on my piece, click on their piece. It temporarily goes up here to this resting spot. It's indicated by green, meaning you should click on it. And then when you click on it, you can put it on anywhere on the board that is available, except for the center 9 squares here. Now I'm going to take a gate of heaven. So I'm going to click on this piece here, and you can see I'm going to take advantage of the 3 here. I'm going to take a 3 and then the customary 90-degree turn. Over here you'll see the little gate icon. So I'm going to land on that, and capture a gate of heaven. And if I can get the other 3 before my opponent does, then I will have won the game. Now, if a player gets 3 6s, that means they lose the game. Came very close there. If your opponent gets 3 6s, then they lose the game. You can see my opponent here has just knocked me off a gate of heaven and put me in one of the shield squares. Now I'm going to use my 4 here, and I'm going to click on that piece and then move a 4 and then a 3, which totals 7. I'm going to click on this, which means I have captured him off of a gate of heaven. Any piece can capture a piece when it is on a gate of heaven. He goes to the temporary resting spot here. And then I will click on it, and I can put him on any of the available shield squares. My opponent just uses 3 to get out of shield by moving a 3 there and a 4 to there. When a person gets 3 of the same number, they can take 3 turns of that number. As you'll see, the computer here is taking 3 4s back to back. When an Archangel takes an Archangel, rather than being able to put the piece anywhere on the board, they simply swap places. Here's an example of that. Another special ability that the Archangel has is that it can move to any other available or unoccupied gate of heaven as its turn. So let's say there was an opponent's piece on one of these red squares and I wanted to avoid being captured on the next turn. I could click on it and move to an alternate gate of heaven as my turn. And now you see I can win the game because I'm going to click on my piece here and then move a 4 and a 3, and I've captured the last gate of heaven. Therefore, I've won the game because all 4 gates of heaven are occupied by me. And that's how you play the game 7.